Antoine is going to be crowned your WOR Season 10 champion.
And history's been made. Ballina, the first WOR PS4 champion. What a championship! What a season! Absolutely phenomenal.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to WOR for the penultimate round of Season 11 here on the PlayStation platform. And we are at the brand new Jeddah Corniche circuit for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. My name is Luke Etheridge. I'll be taking you through the action tonight. 25 lap race, but before that, of course, we will have the 18 lap qualifying session. And although the Drivers' Championship is over, there is still a Constructors' battle to go on. Last time out at the Portuguese Grand Prix, it was a victory for Sam Corby. He took the victory there, and that secured him the title. Dutch Missile finishing in second, and Koen in third position. So if we take a quick look at the Drivers' Championship standings, you can see them on the screen now. Gamer there, 177 points. Brock, 87. Andrea, 69. And it is the McLarens of Brock and Andrea that will be able to stop McLaren stop AlphaTauri winning tonight. AlphaTauri currently on 213 points. McLaren, 156. 57 points between them. That needs to be down to 42 points by the end of the night. So McLaren have to outscore AlphaTauri by at least 15 points. If they fail to do so, Sam Corby will have done the double alongside Kryptonite, obviously, in the Constructors' Championship. But before that, we do have this race to go for. A lot of the drivers, well, I say a lot of the drivers don't really enjoy this circuit. They did actually have a choice with the PS drivers. You might remember a few weeks ago there was a few days ago, in fact, there was a debate on Twitter about this circuit, the pit lane glitches that there seems to be. Most of the races are taking place in WOR in Abu Dhabi this week. However, because the championship is decided here, the drivers had a choice and they decided to, well, why not try out the new Saudi Arabia circuit? Second longest on the game. Only the Belgian Grand Prix circuit at Spa-Francorchamps is longer. This circuit 6.174 kilometers. Spa tipping at just over 7. However, when they do build a purpose-built track, as this is only going to be a temporary facility for the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix, purpose-built track will actually be longer than this. Well, it will be longer than Spa. It will be the longest circuit in Formula 1. This circuit also having more corners than any track on the calendar at the moment. 27 corners, as I'm sure if anyone saw practice today, it is an extremely fast, extremely difficult circuit, and one where the drivers are going to have to watch out for traffic in qualifying. That could definitely cause an issue. So we'll have to wait and see how things are going in this session. We are just waiting for the final few drivers to go. Hopefully they'll be able to join their sessions soon. We are just hoping that the final few drivers, hopefully, will be on their way. So, as we said, Sam Corby did take the championship last time around. It's been an absolutely superb championship from the Englishman. 6 victories so far this season. Lowest finish of 4th position. And that was at the Mexican Grand Prix, taking that win last time out. But behind him, things are definitely pretty close. Brock looks as though he is going to secure second in the championship. He's on 87 points, but Andrea 69, Jackson Lars 58, Risa 54, Simon 48, Koen and Rudy 46. The battle for the best of the best in the championship is definitely still on at the moment, and it should be should be a fantastic final couple of races of the season. Tonight, as you've seen, we are at the Saudi Arabian circuit, and then next time out for the final race of the season will be in a week's time around Interlagos, the traditional end to the, well, it used to be a bit of a traditional finale to the championship. I'm sure everyone wouldn't mind if it was the finale again, although Abu Dhabi, of course, does have that mantle on the calendar at the moment. It looks like the final drivers are starting to get ready up, so it shouldn't be too long before we are getting underway with qualifying. Let us know in the chat who you expect to take pole position and perhaps even the victory this season. Most poles so far this season has gone to Visa in the Alfa Romeo. 3 out of the last 3 races, he has got pole position in all of them. Won 2 of them as well in the USA and Mexico before only managing to finish 10th in Portugal in what was a very dominant performance by Sam Corby, calling it absolutely right on the strategy when the rain came. Don't think that will be an issue around here somehow. Get a funny feeling we won't be seeing too much rain around this circuit, but stranger things have happened. I somehow think, though, unless the host of the lobby has managed to put it on wet weather, we will not be seeing any rain. Should be a fairly straightforward one-stop strategy as well. That's certainly the way it's looking like it will be in real life, as most circuits do now, with the choice of tyres. And it's the 3 middle tyres that Pirelli bring to this circuit. The C2, C3 and C4 tyres being the hard, mediums and the softs respectively. The drivers now are just finalising their tyre choices. You have a fixed tyre choice on this game, so not really sure why it takes this long. But anyway, we are just waiting for the drivers to get ready up, and then we'll be into qualifying. Our championship leader, Sam Corby, our champion, yet to get a pole position this season. So we'll have to wait and see whether he can break that duck tonight and get his first pole position of the season on what would be an extremely, I'm sure we'd all agree, an extremely difficult track to do it on. But enough of me talking, that is the circuit, and as you can see, unsurprisingly, it's just starting to get a bit dark here at Saudi Arabia, so qualifying does take part earlier in the race. That might have a slight effect on the track's temperature. We expect traffic to be a massive issue in this qualifying session. It certainly looks that way in the real-life Formula 1, that traffic is going to be a major problem. I think tonight as well, we are going to see a lot of drivers just struggling to find themselves clear air, and that could well be the important thing tonight. If you can get yourself out the front of the queue, as it looks like Tom Robbo has on the way down the pit lane, if you're at the front, you might have a very good chance of getting a good time, and that pit lane sort of feeding you out on the exit of the corner, similar to what we see at Canada, similar to what we see at Vietnam. And I think a few people were definitely starting to wonder whether this circuit would have that in common with Vietnam, whether we were only going to see it on the Formula 1 game. But the Saudi authorities and, of course, those building the track have done an absolutely fantastic job to get it ready in time. And fair play to Cody's, because they didn't really have a track to build it on. So they've managed to get this done. As you can just see, Tom Robbo now heading around this really long banked section. 3 DRS zones, 1 into turn 13. You've got 1 into the final corner, turn 27 as well. And apologies if it does take me a few laps to get used to what corners the drivers are going round. There is a significantly higher number here than there is at most circuits. And of course, being a new track, it will take a bit of time to get used to what are the corners and what aren't, as he's now heading his way down on his outlap towards turns number 22, just to end the lap. Of course, where Charles Leclerc had his big accident earlier on in practice. Hopefully he will be fine to take part in the race. As you can already see, despite being a long circuit, because of how high speed it is, we are expecting times in the sort of 127, 128 range here in qualifying. We might even see the odd driver sneak into the 126. So not actually really a lot of space for the drivers out on track. But let's go on board then with Tom Robbo as he takes us on a hot lap of the Jeddah Corniche circuit. 6.174 kilometres, 3.836 miles. Making its debut, of course, on the calendar this weekend as he heads down towards turn number 1. Don't be too greedy there, as you want to get yourself a good line through turns number 2 and 3 as well. Now it's all about having a good setup, having that commitment, slight dab on the brakes into turn 4. You can take a lot more curb there than you ordinarily would be able to do at most circuits. Slight lift on the throttle as you come through turns number 7 and 8, and then a bigger lift through 9 as we head towards the end of the first sector. And it is a 30.270 for Tom Robbo. Now, hard on the brakes into turn 13. This long left-hander, this long banked section. Tom Robbo not doing a bad job so far whatsoever. Coming through 14, 15 and 16 now. Braking for turn 16, down towards 5th gear. Short shifted up again, getting as close to the walls as you dare in this session. He's clearly got a lot of confidence in the Mercedes, not leaving anything out on track. And that's sort of how you've got to be successful around this circuit. It is so high speed, you can't afford to be scared. You've just got to go in full commitment on every corner. But I thought perhaps a bit too much commitment into turn 22 there, but he manages to just about get away without invalidating that one. Now comes through the final couple of corners, 25, 26, and then the braking zone for turn 27. Down from 8th gear, down into 3rd, short shifting once again. Jensen's gone fastest of everyone on a 127.891. Would expect that though to get beat by Tom Wobber, 127.017. First time on a set of the softs. Can already see there, a few drivers are invalidating at the moment. Rudy, he's invalidated on his lap. Championship leader still in the pit lane. Wonder if he's considering the last to thirst, which would be a very brave thing to do around this circuit. We've got Cortez making only his second appearance of the season. Debut was at the Mexican Grand Prix in the Mercedes. He's now in the Haas tonight. So, of course, equal performance. So that shouldn't really have an effect on how he performs in the car. Who knows? He might actually prefer driving the Haas. Drivers always do seem to have their slight favourites one over the other, but Cortez just coming through the final corner now. You'll see the DRS open, flick up on his rear wing. You can use that in the race when you're within a second of the car in front. He does a 127.558. You'll notice the use for deployment up towards the end of that lap. Not that his battery was empty. You are only allowed a limited amount of deployment over the lap. Being so high speed, so much of this circuit spent at full throttle, comparable to Monza. The amount of time you actually spend on the throttle around this circuit, perhaps not too surprising that drivers are just using up quite a lot of their battery. Not too much surprise that they're using up quite a lot of track limits as well. You can see Andrea here. He's third in the championship at the moment in the McLaren. His teammate is second, and a reminder, they need to outscore Alfa Tauri by 15 points tonight. They could really do with replicating what they did a few races ago, what they managed to do at the I believe it was the Austrian Grand Prix where they got a 1-2 with Sam Corbett in 3rd place. It is that sort of performance we need to see from McLaren if they are to keep this Constructors' Championship alive going into the final round of the season. Next week, hopefully, Logan Skelton will be back to join me there. He's busy tonight, so hope he's enjoying himself. Why would you not want to be here, though, at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, watching some of the best drivers on PlayStation fire around what is a very difficult circuit. Rudy there getting well out of the way of the Alfa Tauri. This is Kryptonite as he now heads towards the finish line. Simon has just joined the session. Hopefully that won't cause any issues. You see there Kryptonite diving straight into the pit lane. Barely sure if he takes the pit lane like that in the race, he'll find himself getting a penalty almost instantly. Tomer has invalidated on his lap, so it's still Tom Wobbo, fastest of everyone. Nico, who you might remember from the first few races of the season, looked incredibly rapid indeed. In fact, still believe he's one of the highest men in the championship without a podium. He was a full-time Aston Martin driver. He's now reserving in the Red Bull as he just dives it back into the pits. So Tom Wobbo, Nico, Cortez, Jensen, Jax, but only 5 drivers that have set a time. 11 minutes, 15 remaining. See there, the majority of the cars are back in the pits. We've got a few heading out on their second out laps. One of them, Andrea, just heading back out onto the circuit, not spending long in the pits as all. Bowling heading out as well, as is Brock. So let's see what Bowling can do. Full time now in the Williams. Did get a 3rd place at Belgium and a 7th in Portugal last time around. So those his only races so far. Scores points in every race. Can he master this circuit? And now this might give us, well, it won't give us much of a clue as he's already invalidated his lap. I was about to say, might give us a bit of a clue to what the track evolution is like and how important is it going to be being the last man. As you can see him flying the car through 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12 there. Really fast, really testing the cars and testing the tyres as well. Quite a few saying, especially as you come off the exit of this corner, those right-hand side tyres are really starting to overheat. The front right taking a bit of a killing around this circuit, it's fair to say. With all the high-speed corners, you do get a bit of a chance to cool down, not on the straights, but on the flat-out sections. But these long corners where you're having to brake and turn, 5th gear corners, these high-medium speed sections, as you can see, Coming up to one now, turn number 22. You'll see the braking markers on the right-hand side. Very fast indeed, and I think Bowling just trying to see how fast he can do, despite the fact that he has invalidated his lap. I think that's Brock. He's made a mistake on his as well. Has he been in the wall somewhere? No, he hasn't. I was just wondering. Just wondering if Brock had tapped the wall somewhere there, but it seems like he has managed to get away with that one. See what his teammate can do, though. He's now coming through the first sector. Still only 5 drivers setting a valid lap time. With half the session gone, that is not something you normally see. I think he took a bit too much curve there into turn 3 to be ideal. So much confidence, though, coming through that part of the circuit. Interesting that we see a dab on the brakes. I've seen a few drivers go slower through turn 8 to obviously make yourself go faster through turn 9 and having to avoid braking at that part of the circuit. But it's not looking too bad from Andrea at the moment. Tom Robbo still fastest on that 1:27.017, the first lap that we went on board with, of course. The Mercedes man fastest at the moment with half the session gone. It's him, Nico, Cortez, Jensen, Jax. We're only 5 to set a time. Surely we're going to see more drivers do it. Will we see anyone? Will we see anyone get into the top 10 on those medium tyres? Because it looks like if you keep it clean at this rate, you might have half a chance of getting into the top 10 as we just get a yellow flag. I think that's Brock just slowing down, just cooling his tyres down to give himself the best possible run. I wonder if we are going to see a bit of a slipstream between him and his teammate. In fact, probably too far behind is Andrea to really be bothering with any of the slipstream. But round the final corner comes the Shizou driver, was in the Shizou Academy. Unsurprisingly, his performances have been good enough to get him into the full team, and it looks like he's going to slot himself into second place. 1:27.234 for the McLaren man. It's even faster. Tom Robbo dominates his earlier time, 4 attempts up. Great lap by the Mercedes man. 1:26.6 now for Tom Robbo. Are we going to see a few more drivers heading out on track? Kryptonite then in the Alpha Tauri. His teammate's still in the pits. Makes me think we are firmly seeing Sam Corby last the first performance at this race. So, might have it all to do in the Constructors' Championship. Might rely on Kryptonite having to do it himself. Has put in some good performances recently. 4th in USA, 6th in Portugal. Did not finish in Mexico, but his 2 highest finishes have come in the last 3 races. He's clearly diving into the pits. I think seeing all these invalidations, he's realising maybe, just maybe, I can come in here, start on a set of mediums, and get a good lap in. Brock, he's done a 1:47. Obviously not a representative lap time at all. We've now seen Risi and Santeri also get into the 1:26s. Santeri returning after a very, very short retirement from Formula 1. Almost as short as the one that Felipe Massa did, of course, between 2016 and 2017. Santeri retired as a full-time driver and has now come back as a reserve. He's fallen back in love, if that's the right word to use, with the Formula 1 games again. So Brock now heading towards the finish line. Doesn't look like this is going to be the best of laps. Yeah, 1:29.0 for him. Kuhn has invalidated, Legend invalidated Simon on his first run. The Ferrari driver now just coming through this final, well, coming through this second sector. One of the longest flat-out parts of the circuit, this, between turn 16 and turn number 22. Very hard. Bit of understeer there, taking it in a slightly higher gear than what we've seen some of the others doing. We've seen a few just shift down to 5th between shifting up into 6th gear at that part of the circuit. As Simon now comes through 25 and 26. F1 cars looking resplendent in the twilight at the moment. I can imagine this circuit looks absolutely fantastic on the PC. Fortunately, we are only going to be able to see it on the PlayStation this season. And Simon, 7th place for him, 1:27.859. Bowling, another driver, he has invalidated his lap. It is becoming a common theme, seeing all these drivers invalidate. As Brock, they're just trying to, I think, get out of the way of some of these cars. In fact, Cortez has improved. He's 3,000ths up at the moment. Another driver still looking for his first points of the season. We've had quite a variety of drivers throughout the field this season. We have gone through quite a few reserves and full-time drivers, but generally, as you can see, we have got a good turnout. And it does say something about the commitment of these drivers here in WOR. Final race, well, penultimate race of the season. Drivers' Championship is sorted. A track that is extremely difficult. And we've got a grid that is 90% full. So full credit to all these that have turned up tonight. As Cortez heads towards the line, does improve time-wise. Stays where he is position-wise on a 1:27.380 for the Haas driver. Bowling comes into the pits. Line Violet heading out on his first run. 5 minutes to go in this session. We've still only got 10 drivers to set a valid lap time, and Jack's still in the top 10 on the mediums. I do wonder, will we get anyone else out on circuit? Let me know if you think anyone else will head out. Do you think anyone can stop Tom Robbo getting that pole position. He is looking absolutely brilliant at this moment in time. 4th and 6th in his 2 races earlier on this season. Got to say, if this is his form around here, he could well find himself taking a very nice victory indeed. Overtaking, as you could see, just by the nature of the circuit, is going to be at a premium. Even on the game, you might have a slight chance. Personally, I think the best overtaking opportunities are going to be final corner and first corner. This is at the end of a DRS zone. But a bit like you see turn 1 at Zandvoort, in fact even worse than turn 1 at Zandvoort. Not really a long braking zone, and that banking obviously allowing the drivers to take it at a much faster speed than they would do if it wasn't for the camber on that corner. Kryptonite though, looks like he is actually going to set a first valid one. We've seen him go quickish early on and head into the pits on both of his runs, so let's see what he does this time. Again, 6th gear through there, looked to have a bit more confidence, if anything, than Simon in the Ferrari, so this could be a pretty decent lap from Kryptonite. He knows he can help his team win the Constructors, and he might also tonight be, feels weird to say when obviously his teammates won the championship, Kryptonite might pretty much be the lead Alpha Tauri. Sam Corby staying in the pits, looks like he is going to do a last to first, and if there's one man who can make an alternate strategy work, it is Sam Corby. His teammate, though, is going for the much more straightforward strategy of qualifying as high up the grid as possible. Next, Kryptonite in 4th place, as you can just maybe see there how the pit exit might cause a few issues in the race. Line Violets, Tom Robbo, he retires from the session in the pits. He's clearly happy with his time. Line Violet coming back into the pit lane as well, so it's just Andrea on a hot lap at the moment. And he's found a lot more time in the first sector, so let's follow the McLaren man and see what he can do as he chucks his car there through 16 and 17. Just a bit too much. McLaren invalidating the lap time. But Legend, he's on an outlap at the moment, as is Bolin, as is Cohen. Brock now down in 11th. Jax looks like he's going to go for a set of the soft tyres. I think realising you probably can't get into the top 10 on the mediums around this circuit. Even though if anyone who did watch practice or even listen to practice, and I imagine there was quite a few of us, drivers not finding a lot of time on a set of the soft tyres. So whether that will be the case, if that is the case here, Jax might not actually move too far up the order. If it's not the case, and I really expect the soft tyres to be quite good, would not surprise me if he could translate that 127.9 into a low 127, maybe even find a full second at a high 126 and challenge for that front row of the grid. But we have got Legend. He's validated his lap at the moment, as has his teammate for tonight, Tomo, the enigma that is OP Tomo. I feel like I should stop talking about his season. 10 points for the pace he showed in the first race, where at one bit it looked like he might even get on the podium, perhaps even a victory in the first race of the season, as it does feel a bit weird to see George Russell's helmet design in a Aston Martin rather than a Williams, or perhaps rather than a Mercedes, as I'm sure we'll all have to get used to next season. But Tomo, only 10 points so far. He'll be hoping in the final 2 races he can end it on a high and prove that for next season, season 12, he deserves to be in the top tier. As Jensen, fastest of everyone. We missed that lap. Jensen, a man who I have seen do a lap around here before, very quick around this circuit. 126.593, did hold the world record for a time on PlayStation around this circuit. Not sure if that's still the case now, but Jensen showing why he got that world record. He is an exceptionally fast driver indeed. Bowling 30.2 for the first sector, so if he can follow this for the rest of the lap, I think he might have a chance of getting into the top 5. We are seeing a few yellow flags as cars just slow down, obviously try to get themselves some space. Risa on an outlap, can he make it? 4 pole positions in a row, like we've seen Oscar Piastri do today in Formula 2. Andrea, he's in 7th. He knows he's not going to be able to improve. He is in the pit lane at the moment. Definitely seems like 6th gear has become the thing, as Bowling very fast through sector 2. Probably braked a bit too late. He has invalidated his lap. Cohen's not going to get another lap in. Rudy as well. As we expected, the bits of the track where you can run off and can push a bit harder, the drivers are really going for it. Santeri then 4th place at the moment in that Haas. We're looking pretty good for Haas at the moment, 4th and 8th, but they are both reserve drivers, so will not be scoring any points for the Haas team. In sector 2 time, he's a quarter of a second up. You know, if he can find a lot of time here through 22, he does go down to 6th gear, but definitely gets a good run. If he can nail this final part of the circuit, Jensen not giving him any intentional slipstream, not blocking him as well. If Santeri nails this final corner, we could see the IFR all front row just being split up here by, well, VRT Santeri. VRT obviously not existing, now part of the WOR stable. Santeri, as he heads towards the line, does split the IFR drivers, gets himself into second place. Very respectable lap, especially seeing as he's only just come to... Oh, Risa taps the wall coming out of turn number 16. Doesn't seem to have any damage. Checkered flag is out. I'm sure we'll get a taster of whether he's got any damage as we come through turn number 22 here. Looks like he took a good enough line through there. Definitely carried a decent amount of speed, but maybe just lost a bit of momentum as he was improving on his lap time. We're still not seeing many set times. Jax didn't improve. He stays 10th on a set of the soft tyres. Are we going to see Risa make it 4 pole positions in a row? Is he even going to get onto the front row of the grid? Taking that tight line towards the left-hand side of the track. Across the line comes Risa. Improves time, stays in position, stays in 4th place. Bolin has invalidated his next run. Only 11 drivers manages to set a valid lap time around here, showing how tough it is going to be. We could see track limit penalties be absolutely crucial in this race, and it is IFR Jensen in the pit lane. He takes pole position. Can he? Again, quite a long way down the order in the championship. He's had a podium at the Canadian Grand Prix, the circuit that has some high-speed sections where the walls are never too far away. Quite a different level, though, to what they are here. Jensen takes pole position, and it is Santeri on his return to league racing in second. You'll see there the Williams of Bowling in the pits. One of the many drivers, in fact, not to set a lap time in that session. Jensen, though, did 1:26.593, getting pole position in the end. Only 1/100th of a second. Tom Robbo missing out on pole position by less than 3/100ths of a second. It should be an exceptionally close race between those guys. Let's not count out the rest of the grid as well. Risa 4th, Kryptonite 5th. Good qualifying from Nico on his return as a reserve. He is in 6th position. Andrea is 7th. Cortez 8th. Simon 9th. Jax is in 10th. He will be starting on the medium tyres inside the top 10. And probably starting on the mediums outside the top 10 will be Brock, Cohen, Bolin, Legend, Line Violet, Sam Corby, Rudy, and O.P. Toma rounding out the last spot on the grid. If we learnt one thing from that qualifying, expect invalidations, expect issues, expect many problems. I think it's fair to say the drivers are going to struggle around this circuit. It's something that we see quite often, obviously, on new tracks. This being the newest circuit on the game, only having come out a couple of weeks, and I can tell you, I don't think I've set one clean lap on this circuit yet, and if I have, it has definitely been nowhere near the pace of what these drivers have done. If you want to see some more WOR action, though, throughout the week, there is, of course, the Xbox tiers. They will be coming out, I believe, from the final race of the season at Brazil. And, of course, we'll be seeing Abu Dhabi in the PC tier on Sunday as well. So make sure to check that one out. Should be absolutely fascinating. We're just waiting for the drivers to pick their strategies, pick their setups, make what few setup changes you are allowed to make to your cars. That being tyre pressures, front wing changes and differentials. If you think the balance of the car wasn't quite right in the normal session, you are allowed to make changes now, as other drivers should be getting ready to come onto the grid. And let's have a look at where they will be racing then. Around the Jeddah Corniche circuit, 6.174 kilometers, 3.836 miles, a mix of street and permanent circuits. Very tricky indeed. 27 corners will definitely be a test of talent for the drivers, as we see what tyres they have gone on, and quite a mix outside of the top 10. We've seen their Line Violet and Rudy going quite aggressive. They're going to go for a set of soft tyres, hoping they can make their way up the order. Rest of the top 10, including our newly crowned a fortnight ago, Sam Corby, new champion. Delighted with the way his season's gone so far. How high up the order do you guys think he can go? I wouldn't write him out for a podium here. Sam Corby, incredibly fast, especially in races. His qualifying, he admits, is not his strong point, and that does sometimes cost him in other leagues. He loves an alternate strategy, though. He gets things absolutely perfect. You saw him in Portugal, started outside the top 10 on the mediums, managed to get them to last until the rain came, and what looked like he'd made a mistake on the strategy, all of a sudden became a fairly comfortable victory for him. I think it's fair to say we're not going to see any rain around this circuit this time around, so he's going to have to do plenty of overtaking. But again, don't write him out for a podium. And another reminder, AlphaTauri are not outscored by McLaren by at least 15 points. The championship in the Constructors will be over. And with Kryptonite being in 5th place at the moment, yes, both McLarens are ahead of Sam Corby. They're both behind Kryptonite. So if they finish as they start, AlphaTauri will be taking that title as quite a quick formation lap by Jensen. It is quite a quick lap no matter how you take it around this circuit. Just slowing things down now, I'm sure. Wants to make sure that he's not got too long to wait. I think he knows turn 1 could be incredibly crucial in this race. Jensen, first pole position of the season, has had a podium at the Canadian Grand Prix, where getting your tyres last proved to be by far the most important thing in that race. Can he convert this to a first victory of the season? Second place would be his best finish, but I'm sure he is wanting to go for the victory. Give it to the drivers, let them know who your support is in the chat. And we are getting ready for the race to start. Jensen on pole position, Santeri alongside him, Tom Robbo on 3rd. Are we going to get another new winner this season? We've only had 4 so far: Sam, Brock, Jax and Risa, as we now wait for the lights to come on around the Jeddah Corniche circuit. We have 5 lights. Quite a long hold then, but we are underway for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, and straight away Santeri is going to try and get alongside Jensen into turn number 1, but it is going to be the Alpine leading out of that section of the circuit. Everyone getting through cleanly. Line Violet having to jump over the curb, but it's Jensen, Santeri, Tom Robbo, Risa, as we do surely now go to single file. Cortez there, very close with Nico. I think he tried, was just sort of alongside them, has a slight mistake, slight spin, gets sent right to the back of the order. Wonder if he's got any damage in all of that. We have got a residual yellow flag still coming through all of that, but it's still Jensen, Santeri, Tom Robbo, Risa, Kryptonite, Nico, Andrea, Simon, Cohen, Brock, Rudy, trying to go all the way round the outside here of Bowling. Looks like he's got the grip on the soft tyres at the moment. By far the biggest gainer on that first lap. 6th position gained. Obviously Cortez the biggest loser, and Jax as well on the older medium tyres. Perhaps just suffering a tiny bit more on warm-up on the main start to the race. He is down in 13th. He's lost a few places, and he's got Legend all over him at this moment in time. Won't be able to have a go into this part of the circuit as Rudy gets ahead of Brock, and that is Jax around at turn 22, avoiding the wall. Unlike Charles Leclerc, he drops down to the back of the order. I wonder if he did just think about throwing one. Well, I wonder if Legend thought about maybe throwing one on the Mercedes, and that is why we have seen a spin as Brock loses another place there to Bowling. A few cars going side by side out of the final corner, including our champion Sam Corby. But at the end of lap 1, it's Jensen in the lead, Santeri in 2nd, Tom Robbo 3rd. I think now we are going to start to see this race just fall into a bit of a pattern. Line Violet, wonder if he did make contact with the wall, did drop a long way down the field at the start of the race, and also drop behind Cortez despite being a long way ahead of him. And it is going to be a front wing change for Line Violet as Brock's been overtaken again. He's got to have damage. Surely there is front wing damage on Brock's car, because everyone else is holding their own at the moment. He seems to be really struggling, really dropping down the order. Brock now all the way down in 14th place, and Sam Corby has got ahead of him. Things going bad to worse, but a championship chances of McLaren as Tom puts his Aston Martin in an ever-vanishing gap there. Well, don't think it was intentional that he'd go for that move, and I'd be very surprised if he did intentionally go for it, because I don't think that he was pulling that one off in a month of Sundays, unfortunately. Never going to get any grip on the curb. He's never really going to get a car's width there, and wasn't entitled to one either, but the pack staying fairly close together. You can see we've got a 12-car DRS train at the moment. Could be 13-car if Sam Corby gets himself within that 1 second, and maybe even 15 if we can get Brock and Thomas involved as well. So the drivers staying fairly close together, but we're already starting to see maybe the effects of dirty air around this track. They're going to have to rely on the final corner, I think, to get any overtakes done, and perhaps into turn 1 as well. But we saw there Santeri on lap 1 got alongside Jensen fairly easily. Couldn't really do a lot about that. So that was you folks. Get in for the long haul. Could have been one of them classic F1 game races. Bit of a slow burner at the start. But I assure you, once the strategies start to come in, there'll be plenty of action in the final laps of the first ever in WOR, and probably one of the first ever in league racing, Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, as Cohen, he gets the joy of being the first driver to pick up a 3-second time penalty. Plenty of invalidations in qualifying, and he was one of the drivers who preferred Abu Dhabi to this track. I think described this as the worst track on the game, and Abu Dhabi potentially having a possibility of being the second worst. Not a fan of either of them. Clearly not a fan of the track limits around here as well. Needs to be careful though. At this rate, could well find himself in trouble of getting disqualified at the end of the race. But doing pretty good pace at the moment. He is 9 on that set of the medium tyres. Clearly pushing a bit harder though than you would ideally like to be setting that pace. As you can see, Jensen here with Santeri behind him. I don't think the Haas, who has got his DRS open, is actually going to be close enough to have a go into the final corner. So I think you're going to need the car ahead to probably have a bad run through 22, maybe a bit too deep into 22 as well, getting a bit greedy. Then you might have a chance. Otherwise, you can see him closing up towards turn 1 here. And Jensen might have to go defensive. He's not bothering to do so. So Santeri's going to have a chance here to send one down the inside of turn 1. And he says thank you very much. Santeri takes the lead of this race. Further down the order there, we've got Tomo and Brock swapping over for 14th and 15th. Well, I think with Brock actually holding up Tomo. They were right on the back of Sam Corby a couple of laps ago. Now as both of them just making up their own circuit around Jeddah, the curb can go pretty much over that curve ever so slightly and you'll get away without a warning. I think Tomo was more... Ooh, that's Brock again. He is really finding this difficult at the moment. Again, surely some sort of front wing damage on that McLaren. Some sort of damage at the start of this race because he is finding it extremely difficult. Indeed. Bad news for the Constructors' Championship hopes of the McLaren team. Tom Robbo now all over the back of Jensen as they head down towards 21 and 22. Let's just ride on board with the Mercedes driver for a bit. Definitely a lot closer to the Alpine than the Alpine was to the back of the Haas there, as Cohen takes 8th place off of Simon. Your legend battling as well with Bolin, but here it looks round the outside goes Jensen, and we thought there wasn't going to be a lot of overtaking in this race. For top 2, swapping over every single lap by the looks of things. Jensen now takes the lead. And that is going to be really frustrating if you are in this train. Worst place to be, 3rd man in the train. Tom Robbo can't get any overtakes done at the moment. He's having to rely on those just dragging along with those two. Although it looks Santeri was a bit wide through 5 and 6 there. You can see how that just compromises your run all the way through this part of the circuit. Not really much of a braking zone into turn number 13. Again, very light braking zone indeed. So unless the car ahead makes a mistake, you aren't going to see any overtakes, I don't think, into that corner, either on the game or in reality as well, as Brock has come into the pits. He's on his way out in last place behind Blind Violet, so we'll be relying on a safety car, and with the way this circuit is, you wouldn't be surprised, although we didn't see any... Well, I say we didn't see any damage. We only saw Risa tap the wall ever so lightly. Don't think we actually saw any heavy damage in the qualifying session, as Tom Robbo really pushing that Mercedes then all over the show there, coming through 23 and 24, but he's got himself a good run here on Santeri, and I wonder if we're going to see a move. Santeri, in fact, sends one on the inside of Jensen, so down the inside goes the Haas driver. These two are going to be battling side by side up the straight, and Tom Robbo, he's going to be fancying a piece of this in the Mercedes as well. Santeri thought he was taking the lead. He's down into 3rd place. Can Tom Robbo go down and see the inside of his IFR man? Not close enough this time around. So what I thought was a bad line from Tom Robbo through the final sector actually gave him a bit of a slingshot into the final corner, and Santeri going for a move on Jensen. Wonder if there was a bit of IFR teamwork there. Going for that move on Jensen, was behind at the crucial DRS point. meant he was a bit of a sitting duck on that straight. So now needs to regroup now that he's in third. And think about how he can overcome that DRS to get some moves done. We are seeing more penalties. Quinn Boland, Simon Legend, and Jax now all on 3 seconds of time penalties. Cortez joining them as well as we finish that, as we go on board with Andrea. He's sort of at the back of this train at the moment. Was a lot bigger earlier on, but it is really split up. Rudy at the front of this train on a set of the soft tyres. Not got the pace of those ahead of him, but Cohen not able to get ahead on the medium tyres. Oh! Cohen giving the wall a bit of a clout on the run down towards turn number 22. I think it was through 19 and 20. He just tapped the wall there. Whether he's got any front wing damage, I'm not so sure. As I think Simon, he's made a mistake as well. As you can see, Sam Corby and Legend almost going side by side. Cohen is going to get ahead of Rudy, then up ahead, and Boland's going to try and come through this as well, and almost thinks about making it two at once in that corner. As now we've got Legend trying to get ahead of Rudy. Sam Corby going alongside him. Tom Robbo and Jensen swap for the lead of this race. So that is now Tom Robbo into the lead. Rudy's had a nightmare few corners here. The soft tyres really starting to struggle on that Red Bull. Far too deep into turn number 1. Where have we seen a Red Bull? Oh, Simon's out of the session, and that is Rudy in the barriers. I think he just had a bit of a tap there with, not sure who it was. Not sure who he's actually had a tap on the wall with there. Just caught the tail end of all that happening. As Tomer slowing down as well. So I wonder if Tomer's picked up some damage. But yeah, Rudy, big damage on his car. He'll definitely be coming into the pits. And oh, God, it's just all a bit scrappy here between Tomer and Rudy. And now a 5-second severe collision. Yeah, make of that what you will, folks. But not really what we're wanting to see here. And now they are allowing Jackson or the rest to catch up to them. Cortez is coming off his set of he's coming off his set of tyres. That seemed a bit early for a conventional pit stop. So Cortez has come in off his tyres, as we can see now. Still Rudy and Tomer. I am not sure what these guys are doing, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Nico, he's disconnected from the session, so he's going to be dropping a long way down the order. Top 4 are now breaking away ever so slightly. Kryptonite just dropping outside of the all-important DRS range. They've all got quite a lot of ERS as well, as we've got yellow flags all over the Perth circuit. I think we had a virtual safety car there for a second. I think we did have a VSC very briefly. DRS has been re-enabled, so apologies if I did miss out on the VSC and all that. Was slightly wondering, maybe that explains what was going on between Rudy and Tomo. Would make a lot of sense though. See now Nico, he's really starting to drop down the order now that he's disconnected. Jax gets ahead of Tomer, just but I definitely think that Tomer's picked up some damage in all of that. As ooh, that's big news at the front of the field. Tom Robbo, first driver to get a penalty. Rudy out of the race. He retires in the pit lane. He becomes our second retirement. And we are down then to 16 drivers. Rudy gets a 5-second penalty for retiring from the pit lane after he's outside of the race. Seems a bit harsh. So the stewards are clearly not very fair about here. They're very tough with their justice, I think it's fair to say, in Saudi Arabia. And we're now seeing some slight changes with drivers starting to swap around. Cohen and Legend trying to go side by side. Coming out of turn number 13 into turn 16. Cohen just gets ahead of that, and Sam Corby sort of, finding these two for corking the bottle at the moment. Is that Cortez out of the way race? I think that is coming out of, turn number 9. Cortez in the wall. Looks like he's lost it where there's some runoff area, so we should get there should be a safety car. And we should get away without a safety car, as Jensen back into the lead of this race, but I don't think it is going to be for much longer. And these two working together could just help, because now Santeri does not have the DRS, and Santeri, you can see the effect of not having the DRS as he just taps the back of Risa, who moves to take the race in line. He is now down to 4th place, and not so long ago, it looked like we were going to see Santeri taking the lead of this race. Now, he's outside of the podium, places, and he's picked up a 3-second time penalty. That is Nico's car just dropping a bit further down the order. Such a shame that he has disconnected from the session. Was really looking quite okay for him, if we're being honest. He was looking in a pretty good place earlier on, looking like he was going to get some good points. disconnection means any chance of a decent points finish has gone well out of the window, I'm afraid. We have got more yellow flags. We've got a virtual safety car. Virtual safety car. Right. We've got no retirement. Oh, there we go. Thomas, no front wing. OP Thomas now definitely is coming into the pits. Lost his front wing, so another virtual safety car. Things going bad to worse for the outplayed team drivers. They might be doing well if... Ooh, touched the wall again. They might be doing well in some other leagues, but yeah. Thomas with that big damage and around this circuit, losing any part of the front wing. So reliant on downforce. The entire circuit, almost reminiscent of what the final sector was like on Vietnam on the previous game. You have any front wing damage, you are really in a bad situation. It says a lot that you can still drive a Formula 1 car at these speeds with the damage that he has got on his car. No, ooh. Yeah, someone is coming into the pits. Oh! Drive-through penalty, Legend, under the VSC. I thought that was for Jensen for speeding in the pit lane there. Got a bit excited, but he's decided to bite the bullet. He's decided to come in, hoping that it would be a cheaper pit stop on the mediums, but it ended as soon as he came into the pit, so he's not really gained any benefit of that. Some drivers, yeah, Legend coming in to serve his drive-through as well. Cohen coming in to put a new front wing on and a set of soft tyres, so any chances of a good race for him are out of the window. Santeri drops down the order. Him and Reese are both coming into the pits as well, and he gets the time penalty for a corner cutting. That might have been out of the pits. If so, he might be able to get that one removed. But we now have Tom Morrow in the lead of this race, Kryptonite in second, and all of them using a lot of their battery. All of them trying to get as fast up the order as possible. So try and work out that undercut, of course, because they are going to be very vulnerable, very vulnerable indeed to the undercut from those drivers around them. So very shortly, it'll be Bowling leading the race on his set of the medium time tyres. But look who has no penalties. Look who's for second car on his set of medium tyres. Sam Corby, our champion. I said, do not write this man out for a podium. It's looking good for him as well. And definitely don't write out now AlphaTauri to take this Constructors' Championship title with a race to spare, as we are now seeing quite a few more drivers starting to pick up the time penalty. It's 15 seconds for Santeri. Almost like he's given up caring about how many penalties he's got. He said it's his comeback from into late racing. Quite often the pace doesn't go. Being able to do it consistently, lap after lap after lap, tends to be what causes the problems, as we have a yellow flag in Sector 2, and that is Thomas doing a very perfect pirouette, I must say, in the AlphaTauri, back facing the right direction, but that is OP Thomas down into, well, stays in last place, clearly trying to find a limit of grip on the set of the hard tyres. Nicholas Brock, soft tyres round the outside of Line Violet, job done, thank you very much. He takes 13th place. We did have a yellow flag in Sector 1, not sure what that was for, if we're being perfectly honest. Can't see any drivers with damage at the moment, but it's Bowling leading, Sam Corby in second. And you can see already, only 5 seconds off the lead of this race is Jensen Visa. He's now, with that undercut, got himself up into a net second place here. Tom Morrow in a net third. Santeri is 6th for net 4. Kryptonite, he could be a long shot at a podium as well. No penalties at the moment. Only one driver ahead of him, and that is Jensen, our net race leader, on the same strategy without any penalties. Could we see Mr. Louis Dupont get his first podium of the season? He's got Andrea behind him. This could be crucial for the Constructors' Championship battle as well. If Andrea can get ahead of Kryptonite, gain some places on penalties, he could be in a really good place, as Tom Robbo easily gets that move done before the final corner. Now that they're not as spread out with the train, now that the cars are a bit lighter, they're just maybe finding it that little bit easy to follow. Although that move for Tom Robbo, perhaps not the smartest place to do it into the final corner. As we see Exhibit A of why you leave yourself very vulnerable into turn number 1. And that is Rissa back up into 4th place. Nico, he gets ahead of Legend. Legend, of course, on that alternate strategy, so shouldn't prove too much of a challenge for Nico, who is still in the points. So we'll be hoping to recover something from a race which at one point looked as though it was promising a lot more for the Red Bull man. Yellow flag in Sector 3, and that is Thomas out of the race. He has full safety car. He has lost it through turn 22. We have a full safety car. Brock back into the pits. Line Violet in as well. Now, what do you do if you are bowling Sam Corby and Jax and Legend. Can you get a set of soft tyres to the end of the race? You have to use 2 sets of tyres. Or do you go for the hards? Or do you pick twice, completely lose track position and go medium, soft, medium, medium, hard, soft? Because, of course, just doing that 1 lap under the safety car does fulfill the regulatory requirement of using 2 types of tyre in the race. So, might be one to watch out for. Lap 12 here, safety car here at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Bowling in the lead of this race and is coming into the pits. I think they're all. Everyone who hasn't pitted is going to have to come into the pits. They haven't really got too much of a choice in this scenario, have they? Stay out there, you're completely messed up with track position. Come into the pits. Yes, it's not ideal because you're going to have to do a long time on the soft tyres, or perhaps have to do a double stopper here as Sam Corby goes for the softs. Bowling Jensen coming in for the softs as well. Maybe, just maybe then, that looks like possibly a strategy to do then. Nico's left the session once more. Hopefully he is able to get back in. The softs clearly are a better tyre than I gave them credit for around this circuit. Although Tom, Robbo, Santeri, Kryptonite and Andrea clearly do not think so. This alternate strategy might just be working out ever so slightly better. And again, like Portugal, look who it might just suit. 6th place at this moment in time. 1st car on a set of the soft tyres with no penalties. 3rd on track with no penalties. We've seen already it's tough to get some overtakes done around here, but if anyone can do it, I'm sure that our current champion can. Nico and Jack swapping over. Hopefully Nico can get back into the session while he's under the safety car. He won't lose too much time in all of that, as the field is of course now just closing up behind the Aston Martin. Just the normal colour Aston Martin on the game, not the Saudi green as we are seeing in real life for this weekend. Let me know which one you prefer. Personally, I just think the dark green under the lights, which is what we see with a lot of Formula 1 cars, it's sort of come alive under the lights. Aston Martin in real life, not the best looking of liveries. Here, just looks that slightly bit better under the lights, of course. But it is now Tom Robbo in the lead, Santeri 2nd, Kryptonite in 3rd. Kryptonite said he might be a long shot for a podium. He might be a long shot for a win all of a sudden. Lead car, no penalties on the medium tyres. Depends how long the softs last, because he's going to come under a lot of pressure from Bowling. I imagine he'll be fairly relaxed about letting his teammate Sam Corby by, but Jensen and Risa as well are going to put him under a lot of pressure. And spare a thought maybe for Nico. He's back in possession. He's right in this train though. Oh! What on earth has happened there? Don't know if there's a bit of desync there, but Nico's gone straight into the back of... Yeah, I think that was actually real. Nico's gone straight into the back of Risa. I think he must have some damage from that, and he is now coming into the pits. So this might just extend the safety car period even longer, of course. No front wing change, just soft tyres. Thought he might as well try something different. He is going to... should still come out ahead of Brock. So 13th place. Will have some moves to do. And who do you think, guys, is now going to take the victory in this race? Tom Robbo and Santeri leading out on track, but with 3 and 15 seconds respectively, with only 11 laps, possibly 10, to build a gap. It's going to be very hard for them to build a big enough gap to take a victory in this race. Kryptonite in 3rd, but he's got no penalties, but he has got Bowling in 5th. Soft tyres. Sam Corby 6th. Soft tyres, no penalties. Jensen 7th. Soft tyres, no penalties. Andrea as well, right behind him. Same tyres, the mediums, no penalties. Crucial as well for the constructors. Things stay as they are with both AlphaTauri in the points. McLaren won't get enough points, and AlphaTauri will take this championship with a round to spare. Won't be anything to fight for at the Brazilian Grand Prix. That won't mean it won't be a brilliant Brazilian Grand Prix. So make sure to check that out. Same time, same place next week on the WOR YouTube channel for the finale of Season 11. And what a fantastic season it has been. And what has the final half of this, gotta say, scintillating so far, Saudi Arabian Grand Prix got in store. We saw a lot more overtakes than I was expecting. I've got to hold my hands up to that one. A lot more overtakes than I was expecting. And I think we're about to see the lights go off on that safety car. The entire pack has caught up. They're Yeah, there we go. Safety car is in this lap. So it is all now up to Tom Robbo to get this right. Do you go early to try and give a dirty air effect through the final corner? Or do you leave it really, really late in the hope that you won't give anyone a slipstream down towards turn 1? Those are the two options. I think if you go early on the final straight, you're going to leave yourself maybe a bit of a sitting duck. But you can just see he's having to work those tyres. Everyone, obviously, working the tyres, trying to build up some temperature in them as we've got that beautiful view here of the port city of Jeddah. And still Tom Robbo trying to build up some heat in those medium tyres. He is leaving it very, very late to put the hammer down, and there he's gone. And he has caught Santeri napping ever so slightly, and we are back to green flag racing here then at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Andrea very close to Kryptonite, but here comes Bowling down the inside into turn number 1. Can he hold it out around turn number 2? Not on this occasion, but he's got the extra traction, and the think he's got that place. So here's up into 4th, yellow flag, and that's a big accident in the field. Nico has retired. Jack's facing the wrong direction. I think Cohen and Legend involved in that as well. So that is both Aston Martin. Well, one Aston Martin we've seen out of the race, and now the other one really in the walls as well with a broken front wing. I think Brock, has he got some damage in all of that as well? Yeah, he's missing an end plate. Massive accident. Cohen missing his front wing as well. Very surprised that did not cause at least a VSC, if not another safety car. But the front two are absolutely streaking away at the front of the field. Tom Robbo already 2 seconds ahead of Kryptonite. Santeri still on his tail. Here we are on board with IFR Bowling. He's got ahead of Andrea. Can he get ahead of Kryptonite and start chasing the front two? Looking like he might try and move into turn 22. Not even with the extra grip on his tyres. He's not going to be able to make that one work. Sam Corby then all over the back of Andrea. Gets a fantastic run, and I think he's not a lot he's going to be able to do about this, and not a lot his teammate can do up ahead. About Bowling, those soft tyres working very good, as well as Andrea's now trying to defend on the inside from Jensen, who's just going to opportunistically all the way round the outside. Brilliant move from Jensen. He knows his only chance of winning this race is staying with Sam Corby and probably beating him out on track. As now Risa and Andrea very close on the straight to having a big crash, as Sam Corby is let by Kryptonite. And I think it's all of a sudden rear gunner mode for Kryptonite through this part of the circuit to just stop Jensen getting ahead of him. Could easily, with a pace difference, could easily be half a second time loss here. Brock, Legend and Cohen have all thankfully made it back to the pits, and with the retirements we're starting to see in the race, as Legend does actually retire from the race, I was going to say, don't give up, lads. You might well get yourself a point still at this situation. You never know what could happen, and you can see how much time Kryptonite has lost to his teammate, but therefore how much time Jensen has lost to his teammate as well. Was on pole position, and I think any chance of him taking a pole to light's victory obviously wasn't going to happen, as he didn't lead any lap, but any chance of him taking that win might have just gone out the window. And I wonder if he's regretting coming into the pits and putting on that set of the soft tyres, giving up track position off a fresh set of mediums, which we didn't see anyone else do. Everyone else who did pit for a set of medium tyres earlier did decide to stay on them. Cohen gets himself a penalty, as I think this is going to be fairly straightforward then. Don't think I'll be too happy about that. Kryptonite moving quite late on the straight there, and Jensen having to brush the wall to make sure he got by safely, but he does get by, and Risa all the way around the outside. Very nice indeed. He is up into 6th place, clearly learning that from the Alpine ahead of him last time around. Back to the lead of the race though, 9 laps to go. Tom Morrow still leading from Santeri. Bowling closing up. Sam Corby there as well. It's going to be a fantastic final 8 laps, folks. So, Sam Corby, champion of the season. More than double the points of anyone else. And it looks, with the way things are going in this race, he is well going to carry that on. 177 points for him. 90 ahead of Brock, who's not looking like he's going to score in this race. So it has been a brilliant season from Sam. Only one race outside the podium, and that's Mexico. If the race finished now because of penalties, he would take the victory. I'm sure, though, he maybe wants to take it out on track, as Jax is back into the pit lane. Wonder if he's picked up a bit more damage in... In fact, I don't think he picked up any damage in that incident. So, yeah, perhaps having his own little issue, perhaps a bit of damage earlier that he decided not to get rid of. Santeri pushing Tom Bobo through this part of the circuit. He's got a lot more pace through there than the Mercedes at the moment, but he's had to back off, and now he's got Bowling all over the back of him. And we saw this backfire earlier on for Santeri. It looks like he's going to be able to get the move done, though, this time into the final corner if he wants to. And because he didn't want to, Bolin says, well, if you're not going to take that move, I will. Thank you very much. I'll take second place. And now he's got the DRS on Tom Webbo. He's going to have a fantastic run on the soft tyres. This is going to be as easy as you like. And now Santeri trying to come back as well. Down the inside goes the Haas. He's up into second place. And Sam Corby trying to get involved in this as well. Can he get a good one on Tom Webbo? They're going to be side by side on the run down towards turn number 4. And I think surely the Alpha Tauri is going to have to give that one up. Nearly ending in a massive accident there. A tiny bit of contact. But all of that means Bolin now leads. Santeri is now second. I don't think Sam will be too, well, I don't think the move was really on there around the outside there. Tom Webbo not giving him a lot of room. There is a lot of run-off area there, but might have been better for Sam just to fight another day. And it has cost a pair of them. They have dropped, they're still within DRS range, so they don't have to worry about that. But they have dropped quite a bit back from their rivals up ahead of them. So I think they'll be wanting to, obviously, put things right and get back within a very close distance. But Bolin, now that he's effectively, well, he is leading this race. He doesn't have a penalty. But now that he's leading, I wonder how easy it's going to be for Santeri to stick with him. 3 DRS zones on this track should make it fairly straightforward. And there we go. Santeri thinks about moving to the final corner, but you don't want to be doing that. Last time around, he was having pressure from the car ahead, so maybe he did want to be doing that, as Andrea and Kryptonite have swapped over. But again, this should be a fairly straightforward move for Santeri with the DRS. Gets himself up back into the lead of this race, but with 15 seconds of penalties, could well be finishing down in 9th. Needs to hope that a few more drivers start falling foul of the track limits on this circuit. Bolin not giving up this place, though. Surely not enough breaking down into turn number 4. And stays behind for now. We've got this train forming back up again. Jensen's got back onto the back, if that makes sense, of Sam Corby. He did drop her back earlier on, but he's still in a good place here, Jensen. Race finished next lap. Race finished as they are now. He'd be getting second place. If he could somehow find a move on the Alpha Tauri driver, he could get his first victory of the season, but still looks like he's on for a very good performance around here as his teammate battling hard with Brock and Jack. Shazoo drivers having fun for pride in the final point here. Cohen takes 10th place. Jack's in 11th. Brock in 12th at the moment as we get the penalty situation up. You can see there, these with 6 seconds and 12 seconds, 15 for Santeri. Everyone else with penalties just on 3 seconds of time penalties at this moment. Kryptonite trying to close up with Andrea. Does not look like he's just got the pace all of a sudden on these mediums to stay close to the McLaren driver. As again, Santeri leading this race. Bolin not going for it for the final corner, knowing that he just needs to get a good run through that final corner and he'll have a chance down the main straight. These top 4 drivers separated by, well, less than a second at this moment in time. And Santeri could be losing 1 place. He could almost be losing 2 places there. Very late on the brakes. He's determined to try and hold this one off, and he's going to run out of space. He's going to get himself a time penalty. And all of a sudden, Tom Webbo's got himself back involved in this mix. He's back up into second position. Don't know where to look at the front of this field. So much action going on here on WOR. Lap number 18. Well, lap number 20, I should say, on this race now. Lap 18. Oh! He's hit the wall. Tom Webbo's gone off the circuit. Big mistake by Tom Webbo. Mercedes man loses the car. Has to avoid, well, has to slow down to avoid getting a penalty. That's cost him a lot of time. Now Bolin's in the lane of this race. Jensen almost in the wall. Reese's on the back of this train as well. You do not know where to look. Bolin now almost with a 1 second lead. If he can get that, if he can push like crazy, a win will be tough. He might get himself a podium though. Don't write him off yet in this race. Santeri, now that he's down in 3rd place with another time penalty, he's going to find things very difficult indeed. And I wonder, he's really starting to struggle on those tyres as here comes Jensen round the outside. Nicely done. That is Jensen up into 3rd place. Risa, he'll be hoping in the next lap or 2 he can get ahead of Santeri as well. Maybe get himself a podium. Tom Webbo still hanging in there with these guys. I did think he'd tap the wall earlier, but it looks like he did just go ever so slightly deep. But he's in 6th place, and Andrea and Kryptonite are battling once more. Kryptonite's teammate down the inside, Sam Corby. 5 laps to go. I said he'd get a podium. Didn't quite expect it to be in a position with 5 laps to go to take the victory of this race. But he's got to push. He's got to hope that he can keep bowling in between himself and Jensen. Because if Jensen gets behind, you know he's going to go for it. Nothing to lose. He wants that first win of the season. Breathless action. 5 laps to go. And that's bowling with a mistake. Very easily done there for Jensen to take that position. And I think Santeri's going to be able to have a go. Not quite. Bowling still with the extra grip on those tyres to hold it off round the outside of turn number 13. These two continuing their battle. Tom Robbo. He's now... Oh! He's round. Tom Robbo's round out the final corner. Well, out turn 13. Thank the Lord for ghosting. Otherwise, that would have been very hairy indeed for Kryptonite. And I think he's just completely overheated his tyres now. We've heard a few say it. The fronts can overheat, but the rears can as well. And Tom Robbo just needs to be very careful on the throttle here. He could still get 9th place. Not what he'd have wanted. But might as well come into the pits maybe and put on a set of the soft tyres and try to go for the fastest lap. Don't get a point for the fastest lap here in WOR. Apart from that, it is the same point system as the regular Formula 1, as Jensen has obviously got ahead of Bolin. And now, this is going to be the fight to watch. Can Jensen take the victory of this race, or is it going to be another one for Sam Corby? Very easily done on lap 22. And you'd think with Jensen being ahead on 22, Sam on 23, probably Sam on 25 as well. So Jensen's going to have to be a bit smart with how he plays this. Hopefully, a bit smarter than what we saw in esports from someone else in the Alpine when he tried to give the other drivers DRS. Risa gets ahead of Santeri, so these mediums now really starting to struggle. He's down in 5th place with loads of penalties though. And as you can see, he doesn't really care about the lines he's taking because he's got them penalties. Not close enough to Risa to have a go. I mean, 1.6 seconds separating the top 5 drivers. Yes, we've had a safety car, but it was so close before the safety car with... I think it was Santeri was in there as well, but did get a few penalties. But there was definitely Jensen was in there, Tom Robbo as well, and a couple of others, I think, battling. Risa also, I think, involved in that. So close early on in this race, and it's continued right the way through. Here we are, though, on board with Sam Corby. 7th win of the season beckons if he can get his way past a man who is wanted for his first win of the season. And I think Jensen's going to say, yeah, you can have it into the final corner, because that might just put me into the place I want to be all of a sudden. And this could be a theme of drivers perhaps swapping around just to make things a bit more in their favour. So Sam Corby, not a lot he's going to be able to do there. Jensen able to take the race in line. Retakes the lead of this race with 2 to go. You can just see the McLaren and the AlphaTauri of Kryptonite in the background. Kryptonite seems to have found his pace again, hanging on the back of Andrea. So maybe an opportunity for what would actually be a top 5 finish with the penalties of those drivers up ahead of him. Santeri on those 18 seconds as Tom Robbo now has come out of the pits. He is battling with Cohen on those fresh soft tyres. It's going to be a very straightforward move round the outside. He's up into 11th place, just having a bit of fun at the end of this race. Jensen, Sam Corby, Bolin, Risa, Santeri, as it has been for a while now, at the front of the field, as it has been in varying different orders. Santeri now might be the point where those mediums, as he picks up another 21st second of his time panel. It is no 21st balloons, I'm sure, for him. Things might start just coming back into his favour now. The mediums might soon be the tyres to be on compared to those on the softs. We don't know how long the drivers on the softs would have gone, as they did pit under a VSC. A few of them, and that forced the rest to pit quite a bit earlier. As there goes Sam Corby down the inside of Jensen. Jensen quite happy to let that move happen because he knows he can have a go into turn number 1. Although if I was Sam, I'd be doing everything in my power to now stop that happening into turn number 1, as we've lost the yellow flag. Knew that move was going to happen at the front of the field, but his Jack's now facing the wrong direction. Jensen back into the lead, Sam in second. Sam's got to think about this. Sam has got to think about this. Jensen's going to defend pretty hard into the final corner. I think we know that. In fact, no, we swapped round all of a sudden. Jensen's now back in the lead of this race, which is where you don't want to be on lap 24. You want to be leading it on lap 25. this could be a final corner move for the lead of this race. Do not go anywhere. Santeri all over the back of Visa then. Watch his space. I think we're going to see moves on the final lap to determine where this race goes. And thankfully, it's for two drivers without any penalties who are in the lead. Jensen's really pushing it on this lap. He's used quite a lot of his ERS. And I think Sam Corby has recognised that all of a sudden, that Jensen is pushing as fast as he can to try and break that 1 second window all of a sudden here. And I think Sam, he's not going to go for the move in, well, is he going to go for the move into the final corner to hope that Jensen passes him back into turn 1 to hope that he can repass him into the final corner? We'll have to wait and see. Sam Corby deciding it is not worth it on this occasion. We round the final corner for the penultimate time. There'll be 1 to go at the end of this one. And who is going to take the victory at the inaugural WOR Saudi Arabian Grand Prix? You can see the cars just shifting around all over the place in the background. Risa almost going for bowling there. And bowling feeling the need to defend. Could these two pick up a victory if the front two drivers trip over themselves? On board then with Sam Corby. Started a long way down the order. He's now in second place. Can he convert it to another victory, or will it be pole to a win in quite an unconventional way for Jensen at this moment in time? DRS into turn number 13. Nothing Sam will be able to do into that corner. Now, I think we're going to see Jensen run ever so slightly wide outside of turn 13, and that's going to allow Sam to be really all over the back of him. But this section is single file as they come through 16 and 17. Looks like the drivers behind them aren't going to be close enough to have a go here. It's going to come down to the final corner. In fact, Visa, he's made a slight mistake. Him and Santeri are going to be side by side at this part of the circuit. Santeri going to have the inside line for 22. He takes 4th on track, but with all these penalties, there's not a lot he's going to be able to do. And look at the slipstream Sam Corby's got here. He's going to try it all the way around the outside before we get to 27. He's ahead before the final corner. And surely now, it is too little, too late for Jensen. Gets on the power, gets a bit of wheel spin. Nothing he can do. It's another victory for the champion. Sam Corby wins, and that secures the Constructors' Championship for AlphaTauri. Best result of the season for Jensen. Bowling rounding out the podium. Risa is 4th, Kryptonite 5th, Andrea in 6th in the end, so not able to hold on from Kryptonite. Line Violet, good result from him. Quite an anonymous race after his incident early on, but he kept it clean. Comes home in 7th place after that. Santeri all the way down in 8th after penalties, and I think that wheel coming off pretty much sums up how it went for him, as Brock and Cohen are battling for the final position in the race there. 9th, 10th, well, 9th will go to Tom Wobbo. 10th versus 11th for Brock and Cohen. Cohen all the way around the outside, not able to do it. He might be able to get the cut back here. This might be a bit of a drag race, but I don't think he's got, a bit like his teammate, don't think he's got a good enough exit. So Tom Wobbo crossing the line in 9th place. Brock crossed the line in 10th. Cohen 11th, but it is another victory for Sam Corby. And I think it'll be very unsurprising then, he gets himself driver of the day. An absolutely outstanding performance from the AlphaTauri man. 202 points now this season. Brock in second place only has 87. People complained about Mercedes domination. People complained about Schumacher domination. I don't think we've seen many domination like this. I don't think I've commentated on a top tier, definitely, season that's had one driver run away with it like this man. Sam Corby, 9th race of the season, 8th podium, 7th victory for him. And here are the rest of your results then. Win for Sam Corby. Jensen takes 2nd. Another podium then for Bowling. Him and Jensen both getting their 2nd of the season. Reset finishing where he started in 4th, as did Kryptonite. Another good point score for Kryptonite. Gets him back into the top 10 in the championship. Andrea was 6th. Line Violet 7th. Santeri 8th. Tom Wobbo, that mistake earlier on costing him. He's 9th. Brock in 10th. Cohen 11th. Jack's retiring towards the end of that race. And Legend, Nico, Thomas, Cortez, Rudy, Simon. The rest of the retirements. I think we knew we were going to get a decent amount of retirements in that race. didn't need me to tell you we were going to see a few drivers retire. We are going to hopefully, we are going to be able to get some of the, hopefully we'll be able to get all of the podium drivers into the chat. We'll just invite them to the waiting room now. Let us know in the comments if there's any questions that you guys would like to ask for our top three. Normally I have someone else here alongside me to take some of the load off, and I think, as you can tell, the voice is starting to die, so we might have to be a bit Kimi Räikkönen for these questions. I'm sure you'll agree, everyone that was watching, thank you so much. Some of the best viewing figures we've had this season, by the way, so really do appreciate each and every one of you coming along on this Friday evening. Your support is welcome. Leave a like and subscribe as well if you want to see more from PlayStation platform and, of course, PC and Xbox as well. An absolutely superb race. And a reminder, Sam Corby taking that victory. AlphaTauri are now Constructors Champions. And I can tell you that we have got all of the top three in. So let's head over. Well, might as well head over there myself, actually, rather than dragging him in one at a time. Let's head over for the podium interviews, and we'll start, as we have done so often this season, with the man who took another victory. It is our Drivers' Champion, Sam Corby. Another great race for yourself. I imagine that safety car timing was absolutely perfect for you.
Yeah, I think without it, I probably wouldn't have been within contention at the front. But yeah, we lost so much time in the first stint. I mean, this track, it just offers so much slipstreaming and overtaking, and there was people battling everywhere, so it was kind of difficult to get through the pack. But yeah, the safety car was pretty much perfectly timed, and then I was quite surprised that Jensen pit as well. But I think in hindsight, that was the best thing to do anyway. And then, yeah, the last 5 laps or so, it's just a case of there's nothing you can do other than let each other pass every lap, because you're so close and the slipstream and DRS effect is so strong that, yeah, it was just unfortunate for him that obviously he was the one ahead on the last lap. So I had the opportunity to overtake. I think if it was the other way around, it would have been very difficult for me to win it. So, yeah, it's quite tactical when it gets towards the end of the race, but thankfully it came out in my favour, so...
Yeah, it did come out in your favour. I was about to ask how much those tactics played a part, because it definitely looked like there were some laps where you'd go for the move into the final corner, and then others where you'd think about, well, I won't do it, I'll save it for turn number 1. This circuit, I think in the end, I think it's surprising a lot of people. I saw a lot more overtaking than I expected to see.
Yeah, exactly. It's purely down to the 2 massive straights. Obviously, the first sector is quite twisty, but luckily on this game at least, there's not a massive dirty air effect. So I'm not sure what it'll be like in real life, but yeah, it does offer quite decent racing. And as I said, it's just so tactical with the fact that it doesn't matter if you're half second slower. You can stick with fairly easily with the DRS, and even if you get a good exit out the last corner, you can even overtake up to the line, which would have been interesting. So yeah, I do like the track. It's very difficult, and you're obviously very close to the walls, so it can be quite a challenge. But yeah, I'm happy with it.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say the drivers made a good choice going for this rather than Abu Dhabi. And congratulations, of course, you're now double champion. You won the drivers last time out, and you've won the constructors here. Maybe another last to first attempt at Brazil.
Yeah, that might have to be the way now. Yeah, gone away for the championship. So obviously, Kryptonite's done his part as well to get the points in for the old AlphaTauri team. So yeah, we'll see what we can do in the last race, and we'll give it a good send off, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully we will do. So congratulations, Sam, another victory. I'll let you head off now, and we'll bring in your teammate. We'll bring in the other part of the AlphaTauri team. We will bring in Kryptonite, Mr. Louis Dupont. Congratulations, another good result from yourself today. You really seem to be picking up a lot of consistent points towards the end of this season.
I mean, I don't feel like I've gotten better. I feel like I'm just more consistent, and I'm just trying to keep out of like any sort of crash or incident I can have on track. And when you avoid all the mayhem, it's honestly quite easy to pick up points, I feel like. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely seemed to be a good tactic today. Tell us about the end of the race, because there was all sorts of chaos going on at front, but it looked like you and Andrea were having your own little battle, and I imagine you were also thinking about those tactics of when to go for the move to ensure you were ahead coming out of the final corner on the final lap.
Yeah, so basically, as Sam said, it was very tactical. So I didn't really know coming into the last lap if I should be leading. I mean, leading should be in front of Andrea or behind. And because the line isn't really that far from the last corner, I thought that maybe it was better to get the move done into the final corner rather than on the pit straight. So I could have overtaken Andrea coming to turn one on the final lap, but I decided to keep the DRS closed and to stay behind. And I had a bit more battery, I think, and yeah, just got the move done into the final corner and yeah, parked it on the apex, and then yeah, you couldn't do anything basically. But yeah, we didn't have the pace of the guys that pitted for fresh softs. I wanted to pit, but because Sam had to pit as well, I didn't want to double stack. So yeah, was kind of doomed again by the safety car.
Yeah, safety car obviously working well for your teammate, not so much for yourself, but Constructor Champions now for AlphaTauri. Congratulations on another top 5 finish in the race as well. I'll let you head off.
Cheers.
And we'll bring in the man who came oh so close to getting his first victory of the season, his best qualifying of the season, IFR Jensen. As Sam said, just the positioning of who was leading on the final lap, it was always going to be so hard to defend into the final corner.
Yeah, it was ever so gutting at the end when Sam got by. I was really trying to get a gap on the final lap, but I don't think I really had the pace, to be honest. I was one warning away from a penalty, so I had to be really conservative. But, I mean, to anyone who doubt this track, I mean, of course, you had the pit exit, caught out a couple of guys today, but anyone doubted it for the racing, they got to really watch that back, because that was quite something. Especially looking ahead into turn 1 and 2, they've seen 3 cars, like 3 wide, going through there. And it's like, yeah, really enjoyed that, even with the P2 in the end. But yeah, just goes to show.
Yeah, like you said, it was some fantastic racing. Were you ever thinking, did you think going on to that final lap to maybe not overtake Sam, or were you just worried because of how close the cars were behind that the best tactic would be at the front and just see if you could somehow pull a gap?
I mean, it was risking not getting close enough for like the second to last DRS zone, or getting the gap, and I didn't know what to do really. I didn't know, like, I wasn't great in the first sector today, I think, so I didn't think I was going to keep up with him in the end. But yeah, I think, like he said, going for the softs in the safety car is the right call. I think it was annoying because I think I could have won if there was no safety car, but I mean, in the end, I think I made the right choice, because if I stayed out on the mediums, I think it would have been second maximum for that one. But yeah, in the end, it all played out, and of course, second. That's ending my season anyway. Yeah, but the next season it definitely promises much. So yeah.
How would you rate your season then? I was about to ask you what your hopes for next week, but seeing as this is your final race, how would you rate your season? You've had a couple of podiums as well. It looks like the pace is getting there. Do you think you can have a title challenge next season?
Oh yeah, I'm going for that title. I think I've really picked up the pace of late. I think the start of the season was quite inconsistent. His performances I knew were there, but I just didn't get them. And the recent form I've had in other leagues, and of course today's race was proof enough. I think I could really get the challenge down if I keep the consistency up. But I mean, it's the first season for me running no assists or no ABS now. So yeah, I think gain the consistency, I should be able to do much better next season. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. So, congratulations on another podium. So close to that first victory, Jensen.
Yeah, thank you for commentary as always as well.
No worries, my pleasure. And we'll bring in the final man for the interviews. AFR Bowling. Again, a good race for yourself. Just getting that penalty was always going to make it difficult to get the win with how powerful DRS is around here.
Yeah, I think it was a really nice race. I think the win was not possible for me because I was not that fast as Jensen and Sam in front of me. But it was a really nice race. My qualifying was not so good. I couldn't get a lap together, so it started P13, but then fighting my way through. And a lucky safety car, but yeah. Then go to the podium. I'm happy.
Yeah, definitely worked out pretty well with the podium. Was there anything you changed with your driving then between qualifying and the race? Because we saw a lot more invalidations, I think it's fair to say, in qualifying, but then a lot more crashes in the race. So did you change your driving to perhaps try and avoid getting loads of penalties? Because you said yourself you struggled to get a lap together in qualifying.
Yeah, when I practiced, I did only at midnight and not when the sun was there. So that was a little bit stupid from me. So yeah, the race was a little bit easier for me, but still, yeah, some warnings are really strange on this track. But yeah, I keep it clean. So.
You've competed in 3 races so far this season. You've got podiums in 2 of them. Are you going to be in Brazil, and what's your aim for that race if you are?
I hope I can knock on the door at the top again. And let's see what happens. I hope top 5, and then I'm happy.
Yeah, we will have to wait and see how that goes. Congratulations on the podium today, and I'll let you head off.
Thank you.
And that's the end of the podium interviews, and that is pretty much the end of the stream, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. We'll be back next week, hopefully, with Logan for the final round of the season at Interlagos. But make sure to check out the Xbox action on Monday from Interlagos, and there's also still some PC action to go as well with George Morgan and Ginger Andy. But for myself, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in a week at Interlagos for the final round of WOR Season 11 on the PlayStation. Goodbye.